What's up, guys and gals? True believers. By that, I mean Marvel fans. Here's another little batch of Marvel Legends figures I wanted to kind of like share with you guys, talk a little bit about. I'd always planned to do something like this for a while. I've done it once previously, but that was with a more recent series. It was the Gamerverse Abomination full series. Um, so these are older ones. Some of them might be even up to a year or over a year old. I think they were all kind of around the same time, if not even in the same series. I don't remember anymore. Um, anyway, so I've been keeping them out, so to speak, sectioned off for this particular video, as opposed to just throwing them in with my collection already. So anyway, what I always intended to do with something like this is to just kind of like have a little batch of figures that are all around the same theme, not necessarily in the same wave or series, but just all kind of related, and just kind of talk a little bit about them. It's not a review by any means. It's just kind of, again, like I said in the beginning, it's just sharing some figures and kind of talking about them. So anyway, so these figures in particular, again, I think they were all around the same time. Again, if not even in the same series. It was an exciting time because at the time these came out, I know we'd already gotten some of the 90s themed X-Men figures like Rogue, for example, Cyclops. Who else? I forget who else we'd gotten at the time already. But it was a time where we were just starting to get more 90s X-Men, 90s themed or 90s style, which for me I'll always be partial to that. Like in the entire history of like the comics and the cartoons, um, aside from like the movies, which I love the live action versions of things. As far as like the comic and like animated versions go, like the 90s style X-Men will always be some of my favorite. I'm not always full on nostalgic about things. Like there are a lot of things where I will prefer the modern versions, but when it comes to the X-Men, yeah, 90s all the way. So anyway, um, it was pretty exciting to get these characters, to finally get them, at the time. Beast. Not perfect. Not like 100% looking the way I would have liked him to look. But mostly there. If I had one minor gripe about this figure, and we do get a couple extra hands, as you can see there, a lack of extra heads. One of the things that it's not a deal breaker for me, but a lot of times I'm not gonna be crazy about like something like a growling face like being the only option we have for a figure, so it's like, if you're trying to tell stories or do certain things with a figure, toy photography, whatever, like you'll only ever have him like growling. um which brings me to Nightcrawler, actually, which again, really, really good figure. For the most part, he's pretty spot on. There's always just minor issues. Like there's no major issues with this guy, but minor issues, and it's the kind of thing that it's like there's a trade-off with domestic figures, like especially like a 6-inch figure at the $20 price point, from the big companies like Hasbro. A lot of people aren't bothered by some of the stuff that I am, but I am. Like minor things, like I don't know if it's even gonna be seen on camera, but the minor difference in the shade of color and the red right there, and even like different shade of white. It's very minor. You're almost not going to notice it, but stuff like that, like on an import figure where, obviously you get what you pay for. Figure that's 50, 60 plus dollars. You're not going to have these issues. Now, do I wanna? And I enjoy. If you know me, you know that I love my import figures, but I'm not gonna pay that much for just every character. So for a lot of characters, yeah, I'm fine with a $20 one. But what I meant to say, going from Beast to Nightcrawler here, is you've got the different options in the heads. So different expressions there, which is really cool. So this particular figure is a great example of see, one of the things, I don't know how many times I've said it on video, but I know I've said it in conversations with bros and friends and stuff, talking about toys. It's like, for $20, and I'm not bashing, but I always think about those people who will sit there and review one of these Marvel Legends, and like every figure's like, oh, it's so amazing, it's such a great figure. But like, no, it's not. These figures are good. Some of them are a little more than good, but most of them are just good. And some of them are even less than good for what you're paying for. But I get it; it's a $20 figure. But one of the things I was gonna say is for some of the things that are lacking there, like them having much more amazing, like sculpt and paint detail. One of the things we could get more is more accessories, more options. That is the one thing that, like, I feel is lacking most in these 20 to $25 mass retail figures, is more accessories. Some That's something I get spoiled with my import figures, is like how many different hands you get. How many, at least two or three different heads, which, it's kind of cool because these three out of the four figures here have a few options. Still not enough. I would still like for each figure to have at least maybe three sets of hands and at least two different heads. So we would get a little bit of those to varying degree with three of these. But still, it's not enough for me to say like, yeah, these, at least you're getting more bang for your buck. Anyway, on to Jubilee. Really good figure. Again, yeah, I'm not gonna say she's great. I've always loved Jubilee ever since I first saw her. I remember, I think it was during the Extinction Agenda story arc where she was introduced in the comics, and then, seeing her in the cartoon, I was always a fan. And I remember feeling bad so many years ago. There was that Build-A-Figure of Jubilee, but I missed out. It was a little bit of, I wasn't really collecting Marvel Legends at the time, even though I had prior to that, but it was at a time where I was like not really collecting. And I remember actually seeing the entire wave at like a Toys R Us outlet way back in San Diego years ago. I didn't get it. It was just something that I didn't have to have back then, and I always regretted it, mostly for missing out on that Jubilee. But then we finally got the Jubilee that like was the one that I always kind of needed. Her '90s look. So really happy. It's, again, I'm not gonna say, oh man, just such an amazing figure. She's a good figure, but it's Jubilee in her look that I've always kind of wanted. And we have a little extra head here with blowing gum, which I don't know if that comes out. I'm not going to try to force it out. The glasses do come off on this head though. I think on the main head, her glasses do not come off. Now, minor issue with her, I appreciate that we get an extra head blowing bubble gum, but she should have had some effects pieces. And I would have liked, it's funny because you have the right hands for like using her powers and stuff, but you don't have effects pieces for them. So that is a downside. So that's some points taken off of her. And then I would have liked, even if we did get effects pieces, I still would have liked some regular hands. Um, but still, overall, really good, really good. I mean, it's just more like I'm happy to have her. And there's aside from lacking accessories, there's no real issues with the figure herself. And then on to Mr. Sinister. I always thought he was a really cool X-Men villain. He's big. He's pretty beefy. Not as beefy as Beast, but still fairly beefy as he should be. So really cool. Again, no real issues with the figure itself, but he has zero accessories, and I get it. Unlike military figures, for example, not every one of these characters needs accessories. Most of them are like superheroes and stuff like that don't have weapons, but then that's where you can give us options, extra hands, optional hands, different head with a different facial expression. See, even Beast is like, I'm done. I'm done. Need more accessories, man. um, but yeah, so again, it looks really cool. I'm excited. I'm excited. These guys have been bagged up, waiting for me to shoot this video. Now that I've done that, I can start messing with them, stuff like that. Hopefully, one of these days I'll get back and doing some toy photography or something like that. But yeah, in the meantime, yeah. So that's those figures. Hope you enjoyed this little kind of, I don't even know what to call this. Just sharing these figures with you guys and some thoughts and opinions and stuff like that. There you guys have it. As always, hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks so much for watching.